Hey, all you holistic hipsters out there, it's that time. So grab your chalice of choice and sit back and sip along with us. We would love to welcome you to the Tea Podcast, where we spill the tea on all things holistic in the pet grooming industry. Let me introduce you to our hostesses with the mostesses.
She is the socialite of skin and coat care, Ms. Michelle Knowles.
And the queen bee of all things oily, Ms. Melissa Conti-Diener. Brought to you by TheOilyGroomer.com. Are you searching for a new and more mindful way of grooming? Interested in understanding how to grow your grooming business with a more holistic and organic approach? Please contact Melissa Conti-Diener at TheOilyGroomer.com so that you can set up a meeting and bring balance and prosperity to your life. And AllThingsPaw.com. Intermediate and advanced courses in pet esthetician work, fear recovery, animal handling, and more. Get your learn on with All Things Paw. Also, classes with Melissa, online and self-guided, intuitive energy work, transitional therapy, and compassionate touchpoint therapy, and more. And the Herbal Paw Pet Apothecary, tailored for the individual pet, phone consultations, history gathering, and the home of the Herbal First Aid Kit.
Now, let's get this tea party started.
Alrighty then, here we are. We're doing it again.
Yeah. We've managed to make it again.
Wow. At least that's an accomplishment, would you say?
Oh, for today it is.
Yeah. I have my little friend who, when she hears music now, because I'm all emotional, and when sometimes she hears sad music especially, she immediately thinks I'm crying or feeling bad, so she has to come and investigate.
Oh.
So any music at all is like, oh, Mommy, are you okay?
Yeah.
So I'm being licked to death. Yeah.
She knows her job. She has to have emotional support. I have a bunch of slackers sleeping in beds behind me.
Slackers!
So. I know, I'll pan down.
Yeah.
See them all asleep over there?
Yeah. I see the one going, what?
Yeah. They're like, what are you doing? Noni, of course, is at my feet. So.
You want to stay? You want to stay, or are you going down?
Come here.
Huh?
Come on.
All right. So, how are you today, Melissa?
I'm okay. It's kind of a blue Monday, so
Feels like it.
Yeah.
I feel the same myself.
I have a saying that myself and my daughters do. We're huge Breakfast at Tiffany fans, so we always say having it's the mean reds. They're worse than the blues. So it's a mean reds day when you just don't wanna. I just don't wanna.
I feel that. I feel that today myself. Maybe things are aligned.
Yeah,
things are off kilter.
Astrologically, yes, we are in Pisces season, and we are coming into we're coming into eclipse season, and so lots of kind of shifts and changes happening. So, and we all know as a Taurus how wonderfully I adapt to change.
You love it. It's your favorite. Change every day. It's fantastic. And as everybody knows already, I belong in the Shire. I hate change. I like my 11th breakfast or whatever it is, 4th meal, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't do change very well at all. It takes a lot to move into that. What do you have in your cup today for this Moon Red Monday?
I'm having the mean reds, which sometimes for me can be a little bit hormonally kind of. I think the best way to say it is that my hormones get together and have a pity party. and invite me.
Fair.
So, so
Rude. And you didn't even want to come.
exactly. So, in my cup, which is amazing, my new cup from Erin, she gave this to me at Groom Expo West. So it has all these adorable little Persians on it. My favorite one is the mad face one with
Of
his
course.
little looking there like sitting with his feet.
How
It was
rude.
perfect for today. It says cats and coffee, but inside is not coffee today. It is my raspberry leaf tea to just kind of help me over the funk of this. I don't want to my mean
Yeah.
reds today.
I need to embroider a shirt that just says I don't want to.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Because I'm learning embroidery, I guess. That's my new whatever I'm
Oh,
going through. I know. What? Do I
I'm
need something
always
new?
I know. I'm always so like enamored by all your things when
It
I see
hurts sometimes though. It hurts me.
I
Today I have a mug that I got from my friendship and colleagueship with Sunshine Boatwright. She is the entrepreneur thing, and this says, "My presence is a privilege." I don't know how true that
nice.
is, but I'm drinking
It's
out of the mug today.
100% true.
Okay, I'll take your
Yes.
word for it.
Yes.
And I just have a simple chamomile and clove tea today.
Mm.
It's just something simple. It tastes really good. It's calming. Oh yeah, and I really like it.
I love chamomile. I love chamomile lavender blend or
Mhm.
chamomile and pretty much almost
It's
anything.
just soft. It doesn't make a statement. It just
Nope.
soothes. It's very gentle. I like it.
I've been drinking at night a green tea. It's a decaf, but it is a green tea, and it is a peppermint blend, or I should
Mm.
say peppermint and mint and spearmint. It's a mint blend.
Mhm.
Thought maybe it might be too zippy for at night, even though
Mhm.
it is a decaf because I'm right now I'm not doing caffeine. Um,
Mhm.
but it actually is very soothing.
Is it really? Mm.
Yeah, it's really nice. So for those of you wondering if you should have mint tea, which I'm sure there's hundreds of thousands of you out there. I'm finding it really nice. Normally I would do
Mm.
something that was like a vanilla or a chamomile or a lavender before bed.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm really liking the mint, and I actually have a lemon that a lemon balm that I'm
Mhm.
gonna be trying in the next few nights. Try and have a nice warm cup of tea before I go to bed at night, and hopefully it hits the off switch to my brain.
Mm. Yeah, I hear you. I hear
So
all that. So you're probably wondering what our topic is.
show there we go.
Yeah, we're not playing around today, folks. We
Yep.
are what to do when feeling blue and tales from the pit of despair. So Melissa and I deal with a lot of hormonal ups and downs for various reasons, and today simply seems to be a low cycle for both of us, and that is why we thought we'd be forthcoming and transparent about what we're feeling in the moment. And I think that's part of holistic care as well. And we decided to share that with you today. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's gloom and doom, and we're in the pit, and we try to focus on good things until we feel better. And that's basically what we're talking about today. So,
I agree. I think it's important to recognize it, and it is a valid emotional state to be in as well. So sometimes people are like, "Oh, just smile and you'll feel better," or "Oh, just do this or that."
ugh.
Yeah, sometimes it's an I don't want a day. So sometimes I just don't wanna. I don't want to smile. I don't want to
Yeah.
be nice. I don't want to. I just don't want to.
Hmm. I
So
just would stay in the bed all day today and
yeah,
just not even to sleep, just to be under the covers. It's a beautiful day here. The sun is out.
yeah,
I watered the garden earlier. Um, just sometimes I just get overwhelmed and
Mhm.
I just crash. If I've been up too high for any kind of time for weeks since the show, I guess, I know there's eventually going to be a crash. So
Right.
I cycled up and down, and so I know this is coming. I've been doing this all my life, and I just figured, well, let's talk about it. What do we do? What do you do when you're in the low cycle? Do you lose all hope? Or do you find something to do, think about, or occupy yourself with until you start seeing things looking better and feeling better? So, what I do is I find something really nonsensical, and that's probably the key to a lot of my knowledge about weird things. I will read and research something like squirrels all over the world. That one came against my will at one time. I learned origami because of the same thing. It just focused me, so I didn't focus on all the black thoughts, basically. And right now, I am learning how to embroider, and I'm making a bunch of cross-back Japanese aprons, so that when I go back into production, I'll have a variety of aprons to wear. And
No.
you can look on my Instagram too and see my poor beginner attempts at embroidery. But you know what? You got to start somewhere. So
Right.
I'm watching a bunch of videos from it. Her name is, oh, holy cow. She studied at the Royal Embroidery something in England. It's the place where,
Of course, they have a royal embroidery
they do. Well,
academy.
I mean, you can't be royal and not have something embroidered. I don't know. I don't know the
Well,
story.
it used to be the thing that ladies did. I
Right.
mean,
I mean, you were judged on it, whether you could make a good
right,
wife. Like, it
exactly.
was
So,
serious business. But anyway, she studied there. Susan or Sarah Humphrey, I think is her name. But she's delightful to listen to. And she explains everything so well. And even though she's very advanced, I guess there was an international embroidery awareness day or celebration day or whatever, and people send her their pieces all from all over the world, not her the pictures of their work and videos and stuff like that,
right.
and she welcomes one and all. She just loves that embroidery is still being kept alive and people are interested in it. And I'm here to tell you that even though I'm super really beginner at it, I'm not even going to say I'm bad, because I just started and I don't feel like I'm bad at it. I'm just a beginner. um she showed a ball, like one whole half an hour, 1 hour show was just her showcasing everybody who'd sent her something in, and they were all varieties of skill level, and I want to submit my first sampler to her, and if you want to see it, it is on my Instagram, my very first sampler. So
Nice. Put
I
your
did
work
not
out there.
I did not execute the rows very well, but maybe I'll get better. I don't know.
Well, the more you do, the better you get. That's just, especially
Right.
with things with your hands, is that it takes practice.
And it
So,
just takes my mind off whatever is bogging me down or whatever is giving me executive dysfunction. I just don't even think about it, because if I think about it, you'll spiral down more. You'll spiral down more. So
right.
just good to have something to just focus on, take your mind off of it. It's a little bit mindless or mindful, if you want to consider it that way. So that's what I'm doing right now. How about you, Melissa?
Oh, I'm getting love from Juju right now, and Noni is on my lap, and that's about all the sheetsies I can handle to physically be on my lap right now.
Mhm.
But I do mindless. I want to shut my brain off, because when I get like this, it doesn't stop with projects, whether they're projects that I already have in motion,
Mhm.
and then I continuously add to those. Well, I should be doing this as well, and I should be doing this as well. So it's classic overachiever syndrome, where I'm not doing enough, and my worth is determined by what I can
What you
produce.
could produce. Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one.
That's me, and so I suffer with that. So I will go into that pit of despair, and then I don't want to do anything. I want to sit and watch Disney movies. Although I literally turned on while I was eating my lunch. I had made some tortellini soup because I want all things comforting. I
Yeah.
want all things that make me just feel like, I don't want to eat real food. I want soup,
Mhm.
I
I
don't
feel
want,
that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I was just getting ready to tune up. I saved it. Is the Serpent Queen. It's the life of Catherine de Medici.
Mhm.
Medici. Uh,
Medici.
Medici, thank you.
Mhm.
And she was the Queen of France
Mhm.
and longest reigning queen as well, and known for quite a few things. She wasn't known as the Queen of Serpents for nothing.
Right.
And I find that extremely interesting,
It's a
and
fascinating story.
it is.
Uh,
And I
Definitely. And
love
knowing that there are
history.
historical aspects of that story is
Yes.
sometimes really fascinating.
So, either I'm going to delve into complete childlike, my Disney movies or kids movies, that kind of stuff, anime, or I'll go the opposite with I'm also watching one on Alexander the Great. So I love history, but this is also women's history, or this is actually National Women's Month.
Oh, okay. I did not
March.
know that.
Yeah, March is. So I'll dredge up some really good girly movies too, and
Mhm.
my poor hubby will sit beside me and just be like, "What do you need?"
Aw, that's so nice to have somebody like that. They can
It
just
is.
recognize what you need. After so many years of being together, they're like, okay, let me take over for a minute. Let me just That's
It
really
is.
good.
And it's not let me fix this or let me make this better for you, but
Mhm.
let me just let you be in
Yeah,
this. And
they allow you to move through it.
yeah,
They
yep,
understand that it's nothing they did or said or anything they can help. They just allow you to move through it and then assist you if you need it.
right.
Well, you
And
know what I
that's
found? We put just a regular antenna to see what kind of regular TV shows we could catch with the antenna,
right.
like the old days. And I found a channel called Cozy that is doing a marathon of the best 50 Little House on the Prairie episodes.
Oh,
So I
nice.
watched a few of them way early this morning after Dawn left for work.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it was so wholesome. I almost feel cleansed. Like they are so wholesome. Just the stories and the
Yeah,
language they use and the scenarios that they have and everything just ends up good no matter
of
what. Just,
course.
I just needed that this morning. Just give me just a little bit of goodness, in this black hole that I'm living in right now.
Yeah. I seek out things that will either make me cry
Mhm.
because I'm already a crier to begin with. So
Sure. Mhm.
it's I find it cathartic. I
Mhm.
find it very cleansing if I can have a good cry.
Mhm. I think a lot
Um,
of females are like that, and that's just how we're made. Because we hormonally change every month very rapidly and
right,
very highs and very low lows, that sometimes it can really be overwhelming. And hormonally, you just have to get that energy out before you could be
right.
okay again. It's a cleansing, cathartic cry.
Yep. It's a good. I find it to be a good thing.
Yeah,
I often think,
Don calls it the cry cycle.
yeah. Well, in
He's not wrong.
in Roman times, they would pay people to be mourners, to come
Mhm.
to the funeral and cry.
Uh-huh.
And I often think the older I get, the more I feel like I could pretty much cry pretty
I
easy.
would love to be paid to cry at
Yeah.
funerals. That would be awesome. We would make it
So
real.
yeah, exactly. I was like, that's why I like history because I think it's just so interesting to find out how we evolve and change as humans and what's acceptable. Like I was
And I
saying,
think it really ties us to how human we always were
yeah,
and
absolutely.
are. But they
Yep,
were human like us, and it wasn't different in that sense. Culture was maybe different and societal norms were different, but we're still human. We still feel the things.
yep.
So yeah.
But culturally, being in the funk, being having the blues or the mean reds.
We would fit in with Victorian times because they loved all that.
Yes. So
there's a word for it too.
Women used to get the vapors,
Mm-hmm.
and they would call it hysteria.
Well, no, there was a name for Victorian darkness.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let me look that up.
Now you have to look that up because I need to know.
Talk amongst yourself.
I need to know what that is, for sure, because I am it in this moment. I'm sure it's something incredibly.
Yeah, that's exactly what melancholia.
Oh, melancholia.
But they lived that way societally. Everybody wore a bunch of black. And the reason is when Queen Victoria lost her husband, she wore black, and you're only supposed to wear it for a year. She wore it for forever and made it stylish. So everybody was just gloomy. That's why you see all these Victorian paintings with, skeletons and death and blackness and darkness. Like they really got into it. Like they really were soaked in it.
Totally goth.
Yeah. And that's why after she died, everybody's like, can we have some color?
Exactly.
We're done mourning. We've mourned for a century.
I think I'm not really known as being a dark person or having a dark sense of humor, and I think that's why I mesh with you, because you do have a more dry and dark sense to your.
Oh, it's horrifying. And then to me, it's normal, and I find things very funny, but other people do not. I have learned.
Right.
We are not in the same place at the same time. That's all I'm going to say. And to anyone who's offended, I apologize. I cannot help it. That is how my mind is.
Exactly. But I think that's why you and I mesh so well. But I also, when I am in this kind of mood, this is when I'm like, I want to, I'm like, oh, the Queen of Serpents. I want to watch that,
Fair.
I just want to, and there's nothing wrong with having that time dealing with
not at
what
all.
I call your shadow self, that thing that doesn't really come out very often. But it's usually that little bit darker version of you.
I think sometimes you have to explore those feelings. They're not unnatural.
No,
and they are a part of you. So don't try to squelch them or hide them in any way. Sometimes they need to be turned over and looked at a little bit and examined and then put away, when it's time.
Yep.
So
I always say that don't live there.
Just don't live there. Absolutely.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Just don't live there. You can unpack and you can stay a little bit until it stops, until you stop feeling comfortable in that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, this is lasting too long. This is, I don't want to feel like this anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to validate the feelings that you have and validate the emotions that come up. But then also, sorry if you can hear Dottie snoring over here.
I love it.
But
back in the day, it used to be called emo, but that was even after my time. When it was our time, they just called us either goth or they called us pibs.
Yeah,
people in black. So that's kind of. But I was never emo, or I was never a goth. I have a goth friend who's super, super goth still. She's younger than me. Cassie Mendham, shouting you out.
Hi, Cassie.
But we're getting ready to make her wedding dress, and she's basically going to have a goth black wedding dress with black butterflies.
Right.
It suits her very well. It's perfect. But even so, she's probably the most lovely, sweet, looking at the bright side of things person, but she's still very goth.
Actually has a way with animals, like I worked with her, and she's an amazing human that can work with both canines and felines and probably
and ducks and chickens and reptiles and whatever it is, she's going to nurture it.
Yeah.
She reminds me of Ellie Clampett.
Yeah.
From from the
Beverly Hillbillies.
Beverly Hillbillies. She's Ellie for sure.
Yeah. Justin Goth.
But just a goth, exactly. But in black.
But
Yeah.
I think that's, there's something wrong with that. If there's light, then there has to be darkness. It is a
We have a binary world.
Yeah.
We do live in a binary world. There's light and darkness. There's day and night. Good, bad, blah blah blah, on and on.
All of
the
things.
above. All of the things.
What are some things that you do to get yourself out of it? Like once you let yourself, because it is a cycle, and you do have to let yourself kind of fall into that cycle, go through it. But how do you start? Because it's easy to get stuck there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, for me, the weight of responsibility that I have at any given point, which is a lot, I put a lot on myself to get done all at once. At any given time, I've got 20 projects going. It's unreasonable even for me, and I recognize that. I'm trying to get better, but I quit grooming so that I'd have room for these 20 projects, and I'm slowly working on them. But sometimes I just have to step back, take a breath, reposition the list of priority that has to get done.
Right.
And right now I have every clothes that I have, all my clothes are scattered about my entire house because I'm going through some kind of a weird change right now. So I'm working on that, and I'm just letting it be. I'm letting it go through naturally. So the reason I even started, this is how I think. I'll take you through it. It's so exhausting. So I'm not an off the rack kind of person. So I've never been fashionista. I don't know how to match things together to make a look. Sometimes I hit really well on it, and then I'll just wear that thing forever, whatever it is. I'm mostly looking for comfort, but I just don't have an eye for that. I don't have a flair for it at all, like at all. And I thought a while ago, well, you know what? I'm just going to make my own clothes. I'm just going to make my own clothes. Or I can learn how to alter the clothes that I like, but don't fit me for whatever reason. Like this particular shirt. It's just a little Walmart shirt, but it is so huge. I got it in such a big thing. So I want to tailor it down a little bit just so it fits better. And each particular piece of clothing that I have, there's something on it that I don't like, and I want to be able to alter it. So I got a serger. I got a sewing machine. I cleared out my craft room, like organized all the stuff on it, all the fabric. I also was trying to learn how to knit and crochet at the same time, which I can do with a modicum of success. So I've got that. I have reeds waiting to make my own basket in there as well. It's really stupid. So then I found that I had a couple of holes in one of my favorite pair of jeans, which it's very hard to find jeans for my body shape. So I'm like, well, instead of just patching it and making it look ugly, I'll learn how to embroider so I can have like a flower or a butterfly or whatever. So that's what led me to embroidery. So now that's basically where I'm at, but my closet has exploded all over the house so that I can sort things out into what I can actually wear right now, what needs a little bit of tailoring, what I'm not going to use, and it's going to the women's shelter. So that's what I'm doing right now. And that's among all the other actual projects that I have to get done for various other obligations and responsibilities. So here I am.
But at least it keeps your mind busy.
It does. It does. I can't have a lot of downtime or I will spiral and just stay there. Right. I think that's one of my fears. I'm not fearful of it, but there's no other way to explain it. If I do stop having 20 projects, I have to face myself for too long. So I try not to do that. And I just take myself in little doses. We're all working through something from our childhood or from our choices or whatever it is. Everybody has their own set of circumstances that they're working through.
Nobody leaves here unscathed.
Right. We all get some battle scars on the way, don't we?
Yep.
So yeah, I just have to occupy my mind. And the voice that is me inside my head is the most annoying person that you would ever want to meet. Just she talks so much and says some really insane crap, and sometimes I just have to feed her embroidery or something or do something so she just shuts up for a minute. So basically, that's the reason that yeah, yeah.
I get it. I mean, I do similar things, but I am a fan of, for lack of a better term, I love all things fashion. And so I will make projects like that for myself. Not embroidering. I'm not a sewer. I wish I knew how to sew, but it's just not anything. My poor home ec teacher, I think, used to go home and cry at after school because we had to make a skirt and a shirt and a stuffed animal. And she was like, honey, maybe you should take typing class.
Oh, my
goodness. But
I'd wear whatever garment you made just to spite her. Just
oh
like,
my
what?
God.
I'm wearing it.
We ripped the seam so much. It was an exercise in seam ripping more than it was in sewing. But I will do those things. I just looked in my closet and I said, it's March. It's time for me to put my Ugg boots away and my winter things away for what winter we have here in Arizona. But,
right.
And I'll separate my closet, according to season, seasonal stuff, and then get rid of things and donate. I'm going to donate this. Otherwise I'll stay on the sofa and we'll, disassociate completely, and just do nothing and want to do nothing, and it's fine. I can have a few days of I don't wanna, and I don't have to, but then I have to get up and do something. Like I told you, my dogs get groomed every other weekend, so and I have quite a few. So I rotate through my dogs and who needs haircuts and who needs just bath brush and tidies. So I made myself groom them. I didn't have any grooming appointments with my clients. So I was like, I don't wanna. But I knew that if I didn't do them, that I would be the one that would pay the cost for it later. And I didn't want matted dogs, and I didn't want my dogs all sleep with me. I don't want stinky dogs. So, sometimes you have to will yourself to take on a project. Like you always have so many. I usually have responsibility projects and then I have fun projects. So,
well, at least they're all fun for me. They feel fun. They feel fun in the moment. So,
right.
Even though to another person, they'll be like, what are you doing? So
I went out and I mowed the lawn my front yard yesterday, and I was going to trim some of the things, but my hands were bothering me from all the grooming. So I just left it, but I did map out where under my tree, because I've since picked up I used to have like a fairy garden with all the rocks around. I have a huge eucalyptus tree. And since I pulled everything up that was dead and turned over all the dirt and did all that several years ago, I never put my rock border back down. I just put it all around the tree really tight. So I was looking at that and I mapped out, and I had and I came inside and I sat and I made a full list of what I want to put underneath that tree. So that is going to be my fun project. I love to be out in the garden. That's like one of my favorite places to be. And it's a disassociation for me because I literally leave my phone inside, everything. Right. And I just go out and it's just me and the dirt and the flowers or whatever I'm planting. I'm going to do some herbs and flowers and whatnot. But we're, I have to have a theme. So we're going English country cottage this time around. So lots of kind of flowy florals that I'll be able to make cuttings from,
nice,
and use in some of my decoctations and concoctions and all that. So,
At least I got my peppers and my tomatoes seeded. So they'll be ready to transplant here
right.
in a minute. But we did not have a good crop of broccoli or Brussels sprouts this year, not like we had the year before. And that garden, I'm telling you, is so full of weeds. I just don't want to walk outside. So that's another thing that I'm battling. It has to be done.
Right.
But, 1 or 2 good weeks of rain or overcast skies,
Yeah.
and man, they just take over.
Yeah.
And
My
I
whole
think
front was like that. I just mowed the lawn. I have to do a weed and seed.
it got kind of upset too. I think my asparagus bed got choked out. And I don't
Oh,
know, but I have to go hack it down to see if there's any spring babies coming up.
right.
But we waited a whole year to be able to have asparagus, and I don't think we're going to have any if it got choked. So that's
That's a
another reason I don't
perfect
want to
analogy.
go out there and look at it right now.
But that's a perfect analogy, is that sometimes we just get bogged down in the weeds.
Mhm,
We just let those weeds just choke us out. I know
mhm,
that's a lot of times that's how I feel. Like I I don't feel it. Sometimes I lay down at night, and I'm a person that does breath work, or at least tries to keep consistent with breath
mhm.
work. And I'll lay down at night to go to bed, and I'll literally feel like I'm taking an exhale for the first time all day. Like really breathing. Like, did you ever go through your day where you feel like you've held your breath all day?
Actually, yes, I've been informed by my husband of 31 years that I don't take whole breaths. So
Right.
I'm sure that I'm oxygen deprived over a period of years, probably a lifetime. I don't like and I'll find myself holding my breath because I'll be doing something and then realize I'm not breathing, and then I'm like
Yeah.
trying to catch my breath.
Get
It's
it in there. Right.
ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I don't breathe well. I don't. And I don't know why. It just doesn't I don't breathe, I
It's a
guess.
stress response for me that
Mhm.
it's one of the things that I shut down, which is my breathing, which we all know that without that, there's no life.
Mhm.
So, that, and then I also just will disassociate myself so much, or remove myself so much. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, I call it my I don't want to days, because I
Mhm.
just don't want to. My
I'll
husband will be like,
embroider you a shirt.
yeah, I don't want it. And John will ask me, he'll be like, what do you want to eat? Do you want this? Do you want sweets? Do you want that? And it's just
Mhm.
like, I don't want it. I don't want anything. I don't want any of it. So it's important that I do small things, to like go out and mow my lawn real quick.
Mhm. At
Um,
least go outside and let the sun
yep,
hit you
and
for a
get
minute or 2.
Yep,
Yeah.
and get some sunlight or whatever. Because literally, since we came back from Groom Expo, I haven't gone anywhere. I actually last night we went to dinner at my parents' house, which I hadn't been to my parents' house in like 3 weeks, which they live 10 minutes from me,
Mhm.
and so it was or a month, about a month. But I've just been busy, and I haven't had a chance to go over there. So it's like I feel myself slowly removing myself from the norm things that I'll do.
Mhm.
And then, of course, being on for the whole weekend of the show, and being
Right. It takes a
answering.
lot of energy. You share and exchange a lot of your energy, your electricity
Yeah,
with people in that situation. Within 6 feet of someone, you're actually sharing energy. You're actually sharing your electricity with
yeah,
someone. So that's why when you're around somebody who's in a bad or good mood, it's very infectious. Sometimes it can rub off on you. What you're doing is you're cycling through their body as well as yours.
yeah.
So, I mean, when you meet so many people in a weekend, sometimes that can wear your battery down quite a bit. And I think that's what we're both going through as well. Enough time's gone down, the excitement's gone down, and now you're
Yeah.
just like, okay, I got to refill.
Mhm.
I just got to sit here for a minute and not speak to people and draw the blinds and cover the mirrors. Just please, no more, no more.
Well, it's like we got on, and I was like, And I'm like, okay. And then oh, give me a minute. I gotta go comb my hair.
Right.
I was like, I haven't looked at myself all day. I took a shower and everything this morning after I finished grooming my dogs. I jumped in the shower and threw my stuff on, and then I got on. Next thing you know, the camera's on you, and you're like,
Oh, wait a minute. No.
yeah,
No. Like, I don't care, but I care a little bit.
yeah. So I was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to
No worries.
frighten small children and animals. So
Hey, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
But I think that's why we say, no one ever says, "Oh, I'm at the pinnacle of the mountain of despair." No, it's always in the pits, always in the doldrums, always down. I think it's because you're depleted. You truly are.
I think if you're at the pinnacle of despair, you're a villain.
Yeah, I love that.
That's villainy. Okay.
Yeah, that's villainy. Yes. I always want to feel that, but I can never get there. It's just the Glinda in me. I'm just too much. I know you could. You could easily be a super villain.
Easy. I fight it every day. I fight it every day.
But I just, it's always it's just always the sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and all those sparkly pink, and that's just me. It's like if you cut me open, I'd probably spill out pink glitter.
I probably agree with that. Yes.
And
for me, it's a choice. I make a choice every day to be pleasant, to love people. It doesn't come naturally at all, but I honestly, in my heart, absolutely do love people and want to make the best choices that I can, because I'm a sentient being and I'm not just wafted by the wind, by my, my baser self. I can absolutely make a conscious choice to continue to do good things, to do good works, to love people in spite of themselves, in spite of myself, and it's a work in progress. We all have to make our choices. I just want to, in this time of my life, I want to make the choices that benefit the most people. And regardless of my inner darkness.
Well, I think everybody has levels of it. I struggle with it, and I'm not generally a dark person, although I enjoy, the fact that I can let that alter ego out at times, and then put her back away and be like, okay, it's back to being Sally Sunshine. But I think it's part of being a human, but especially a woman. I think, we have to have different faces for different situations. And I think as we get older, we were talking about this when we were on our car ride to California, but, being the crone and being no longer being a young kid. And I struggle with that. Not that I want to be young, because, no, I really don't want to go backwards. I was not the most intelligent person. And so a lot of bad choices and a lot of naivete with me. But I enjoy young things. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, flowers are still pretty no matter what age you're at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no cutoff of activity or love for something that changes as you grow older. I just think you have a different perspective because you have so much more experience with the world. So you look at it differently, but it's still beautiful. I think there's a time for youth to be youthful and a time to be in your motherly stage. And then there's a beautiful time when you enter the crone stage. And I very much am embracing that. I wish I could embrace it all the way, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I'm waiting. But yeah, I love being the age I'm at. I love every wrinkle. I love every change because this shell is temporary.
Right.
It's just a shell. It's not who I am or what I am. It's the shell that I have for this go round. So I'm loving to see the changes in my face and in my husband's face and the faces of my wonderful friends. I love the stages that we go through. I love our humanity, and our strengths and our weaknesses. I see society and humanity as a whole, and I love us. And we are dark and dangerous and violent, but we're also beautiful and compassionate and wonderful all at the same time. And I think the paradox of that is what makes us so interesting as a species. We are unique in the world
Mhm.
as a species, and I really enjoy watching the ebb and the flow of us.
I think it's important to really understand that at any given time, somebody's going through something.
Always, yeah.
Right. And so while we're caught up in our head and what's happening to us, whether we're, all sunshine and roses or we're in the pit of despair, somebody else is also experiencing something similar. It may not be
Sure.
exactly the same,
Hmm.
but somebody is out there having a human experience.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
you're not alone out there.
right.
You are not alone, okay? Even the people that you put on a pedestal or think they're
Right.
a celebrity or somebody that you really adore from afar, they're just as human as you are.
Yep.
And they have their ups and downs and their insecurities and their, joys and triumphs, just like you, just like you.
And I think we all fall into that category at some time or another when we start to realize, hey, I'm not a kid anymore. My body doesn't function the same way. My brain doesn't work the same way.
Hmm.
Somehow I've lost the filter I used to have, and just stuff comes out of my mouth. And, and I'm like, I can't believe I said that. Or, just like, I, I don't know
It's
about
better than saying something and then looking at everybody's faces clueless because you're like, "What did
yeah.
I say?" That's me, like
Uh,
24/7. I'll say something just in conversation, and they're just like,
uh-huh.
I'm like, "What did I what?
What? That wasn't good. That wasn't appropriate.
What did I say?"
Oh my god, I know, but it just kind of comes with this I don't know. It kind of almost feels like a tidal wave. Like
Mm,
once I hit 50, things just started to change.
yeah,
You know,
I feel that.
I'm coming
We
up on
went through that together, chick.
yes, I know.
Yeah, I
We're
love
both
that.
coming up on 57.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's like, and it really has been. I find myself asking things like, I'll say to my daughters, they're in New York, and I'll send them pictures of something I ordered or bought or whatever, clothing wise, or even earrings or hair, because I buy hair. And I'll be like, is this age appropriate? And I'm like, am I too old for this? And they're always like I bought pink high tops to wear to the
Mhm,
show.
mhm,
Um, the other day I got a pair of pink overalls that have like pinup cowgirls all over them. They're super
mhm,
cute, and I thought, oh, they're like thin. I'm like,
mhm,
oh, these will be great when it's 2 bazillion degrees outside
mhm.
and I'm running errands. And then I looked at them and I went, should I wear those though? Am I too old for that? And then my daughters who are in their 30s are always like, wear whatever you want.
Absolutely. My goal is to be one of those New York ladies that dress all funky.
Yeah.
And because I can't help it, I probably dress pretty funky and it doesn't always go together. But then guess what? I'm comfortable. I'm all right with it. Sometimes when I think I'm smashing a look, my friend Erin will be like, you
Yeah.
gonna wear that? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And then we walk outside. So she's like, okay.
Well, we all do it though. We all think, we'll be like, oh, damn, whatever anybody says. I like this. And then we
Mhm.
go out and we're in a
Well,
social
that's your own
setting.
insecurity because
Yeah.
guess what? Whoever makes up fashion and what's on trend,
Yep.
they just made it up. They're making that crap up. So if they're making it up, you get to make it up for your own self. Each
And
individual gets to make up their own style and it's perfect.
everything
If you're
old is
comfortable and
new
you're
then, too.
expressing yourself the way you want to express yourself, you go right ahead. I love all those funky ladies with their funky chunky glasses and their top hats and their weird purple quilted overcoats. I just love them. I love them, and I want to be that when I grow up.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way that,
Mhm.
I always want to be the bright colors and sparkles and all
Mhm.
that. And it just is who I am. So, do you put that away? And now I have to wear black and just, although I wear black often, but I'll wear black with like neon pink tennis shoes,
I'm gonna make a confession. So I've had my sewing machine and my serger for about 2 years now, I'd say, a good solid 2 years, and the aim was to tailor my clothes and make
Right.
clothing items, right? So far, I've made a ton of little purses and a few aprons, and I tried to make dog coats, but it was for a dachshund, and they're shaped funny, and my brain can't wrap around it. I've not yet once well, that's not true, I have altered, 1 pair of pants, but I've not yet I'm too afraid to cut into some of the clothing because I don't wanna ruin it.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so that's another thing that is a dilemma because I wanna do it so bad, and Tom's like, "You know what I tell blind people when I'm teaching them how to cook? They're afraid to cook on the stove because they don't wanna burn anything." He goes,
Right.
"I make them burn it. I make them burn it. I start talking to them, and I know it's gonna burn, and
Right.
after it burns, they're all like, 'Oh my god, I burned it. I wasted the food.'" He's like, "We're not here to save the food. We're here to teach you how to cook in the kitchen."
Right.
And to get over the fear of that, he has them burn an item, a cheese sandwich, a whatever it is,
Right.
and then we clean it up, or helps them clean it up. And now they say, "Okay, I burn it. So what? Nothing bad happened to you." So he's like, "You're going to have to choose an item and cut into it and alter it. And even if you mess it up, so what? You got to mess it up before it gets better. That's how you learn things." And I know that intellectually,
Right.
but I've got a block somehow that keeps me from cutting it. I've got this beautiful printed, overalls that's made out of, like, challis material.
Mhm.
It's just beautiful, and it's got all kinds of these bright flowers, and it looks like just a garden, paint can of garden got splashed onto it.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
really pretty, and then it's like an ivory to an off-white in the background, and I wanted to make it fit me. Well, I'm I don't know I'm built like a hobbit. I don't know.
I feel like
I am. So, it's not fitting me, and I've been watching all these they're called upcycle tutorials, "Upcycle your clothes,"
right.
and, it came to me in a dream, if you will, that they don't have to be overalls, that I could cut the top off of it, have a top, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
cut the seams and make a pair of pants out of the bottom. So I'd still have the total look because I didn't wanna interrupt the look because it's
Right.
all on this side and it all meshes together, and I didn't want that, but if I cut it, it would still have that feeling, but it would fit me.
Right.
I'm not meant to wear something that's shaped like a big, fat, weird cigar. I can't. It has to
Right.
be tailored somehow. And, I think that's what I'm gonna do this weekend is I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
You're gonna
cut
cut
it.
into it and do it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I did order a weird, like a hammer foot because it's real light material, and
Right.
it's hard for my hands and my eyeballs to do the hem neatly. So I ordered one of those, and now I have to practice on it, but this weekend, I think, is gonna be the deal, and if I can do this successfully, it will give me so much more confidence to cut into the kabillion other pieces that I have
Right.
to be tailored. So, yeah, that's my confession. I've had a sewing machine and a serger for 2 years and haven't made one clo
Mhm.
not one. I'm disappointed and sad about it.
Sometimes you have to make mistakes in order to find your groove. You know what I mean? Like get
Mhm.
into where you just feel comfortable doing what you're doing. I tell my students that all the time when I constantly do half a face on a dog,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Oh my god, my side doesn't look like your side," or "I cut this
Mm.
ear way too
It's
short."
not gonna look like my side ever, not
Right.
even when you're a veteran.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'm all, it is just about making you comfortable with trying to find the symmetry, like
Mhm.
just getting comfortable with the act of doing this, whether it's
Right.
sewing or grooming or painting or gardening or whatever it is. So if
Yeah.
you're sitting there in the pit of despair, and you feel like you're a failure and your garden hasn't grown, or whatever it is that you feel like you were unable to succeed at,
Just
dust
keep
yourself
going.
off and try again.
Keep going.
Yeah.
And I promise you, by the time we do our next live, I will model an entire outfit that I've either made or tailored or
Oh,
upcycled.
now she put it out there.
See? But see, that's how I get out of my funk. Guess what? That's the 21st project now that I have
There
going on,
you
right?
go.
See, that's how I do. But that's just me. I never expect that out of other people. I know I ride myself very, very hard. I'm very hard on myself. But that's all right. In order to get it done, I'm gonna let you, audience, and you, my friend, hold me accountable. And I'm gonna cut in. And you'll be able to see me at least wear the shirt that I
Right.
cut off of the.
Oh no, we're gonna have you jump up on your desk so that we get the
Okay. I'll do it. Yeah. I think this weekend is the weekend.
All
I
right.
think absolutely.
Well, this weekend, I'm flying solo. I'm usually the one that leaves all the time and runs and fritters all over and does all the things. And my hubby is such a homebody, but unfortunately his dad is in hospice and passing. So he's going to go home to Illinois for a few days to go see his dad. And I'll be here holding down the fort. So I'm sure I'll get into all sorts of projects and things to keep me busy, because he usually keeps a lid on my over exuberance of things. So
yeah, when they leave, that's on them.
Yep.
That's on them. My husband left to go to school in Michigan to get his master's in specialty for like 8 solid weeks. Oh my gosh, Melissa knows. She actually came over because I was repainting all my cabinets white, yep, which it about killed me. And as soon as I took them all down, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. So we had to get it done. It was terrible. But yeah, we cannot be left unsupervised. That's for sure.
I'll start cleaning out closets and wearing all my hat collection and, like just being stupid and just all the things. And then I'll be talking to him and be like, you need to come home. I miss you.
You have to come home so I can't start any more projects.
I'll have plenty of lap warmers and dogs to take care of, so it'll be a busy weekend. Plus, I'll have one of our former puppies coming to stay with us, Potato, which I love that name. He is a little potato.
They all are little potatoes. Yeah. You got a herd of potatoes.
I do. I literally have a herd of Shih Tzus.
True.
I can't help it. I love them. So I'll have plenty to keep me busy, but I'll be out of the funk. John's also having a procedure done tomorrow, a medical procedure done tomorrow. So that's been waning on me as well.
Sure.
So just sitting there while he has to go under and all that. And
I know how that feels. Yep.
So when I go back to work on Wednesday, I'll be back in my groove of I like things the way they should be.
Fair.
So don't stay in the pit of despair.
No, don't live there. It's okay to be there to take stock of things and make sure you're headed in the right direction, but just don't live there. It's not worth it. There's so much other stuff to do, and you can be like me. Just start packing on projects. You've got a lot to do. I don't have time to live here.
Yep. I start making a list. I have lists. I'm a list maker. So I just start writing down things I need to do this and I want to do this. I make the want versus need list sometimes. But that's one thing that definitely will pull me out is journaling or list making. So, but right now I just don't want to do anything.
And that's okay. That's all right.
We're allowed.
Yes, you're allowed that time. And you know what? We love you. We understand that it's not all roses and sunshine all the time. And we just want you to know that we're here. And we are human. Look, you are. And may your next sip be just as delicious as the last. And we'll see you again